the magic happening. You will be able to understand English and you'll be also able to speak fluent English if you apply this solution that I am telling you. Tackle the reasons, understand them, and then apply the solution to speak fluent. Hello everybody, how are you all? Hope you're doing great. So welcome back to another session of learning English and improving your English speaking skills with me. In today's lesson, we are going to address something that is a common problem among English learners across the globe, all around the world. This is such a common problem that everybody in their learning journey of English language, how to speak fluent English, they face it. They face this problem. That is, that you can understand English but can't speak. Understanding English and not able to speak it. That is a common problem, and today we are going to address it. I'm going to tell you all the reasons why this might be happening, and I'm going to give you the perfect solution for this particular issue. So are you all ready for this? I'm Shivangi Gupta, your CELTA certified English language tutor, certified by the University of Cambridge, the UK. And before beginning, please subscribe the channel so that you do not miss out on any lesson that I post for you on the channel, just for you on the channel. Please like the video and share it with your friends too. So coming back to today's lesson, that is, I can understand English but cannot speak. The common problem that is faced by a lot of people who are learning to speak fluent English. Why is this happening? Well, we have already addressed the particular issue 2 times. I have already made 2 different videos on this particular subject. That is, I understand English but can't speak. So these 2 videos are different, and today is going to be the 3rd video in this particular series, and I have something new for you. Today is going to be a totally new edition. I have some reasons for you why this is happening. They are new. You'll be able to relate with them. You'll be able to understand the root cause. Also, I'm going to tell you a particular solution for this reason that I'm telling you today. So this is again going to be a very important video. I can understand English but can't speak. If you are facing this problem, do not worry. We are going to address everything today in this video. Now, one thing I want to tell you, that this problem that you're facing, do you know, it's real. A lot of times you might think that, is this even a problem? I'm saying I can understand English, but I can't speak. What will my friends say if I'm going to tell them? What will my colleagues say? Or similar things. This is a researched problem in the field of linguistics and language studies. So I know this. Why? Because as you know, I have my whole professional educational background in English language teaching. So this particular problem in any language, not even just in English language, this happens in other languages too. Whenever you're learning a new language, this stage will occur where you're able to understand the language but you're not able to speak it. Whether it's English, whether it's French, whether it's Italian, whether it's Spanish, doesn't matter. Whenever you're learning a new language, this problem occurs. As you know, I have learned Spanish as a 3rd language. So I have also learned Spanish as a 3rd language. So there is going to be a point, but you're not at beginners. If you think that you are at the beginners level, you're not at beginners level. That's an illusion your mind is creating, because understanding a language is important. And the scientific term that has been given to this particular problem is passive multilingualism. Passive multilingualism. Why passive? Because you're able to understand it, but you're not able to assert the language. Assert means to do the task which requires production of language. That means speaking and writing. You face difficulties in these 2 tasks. So understanding is perfect, but speaking requires lots and lots of efforts. So this problem is called passive multilingualism. Passive multilingualism. Now this is a very technical term. You don't have to worry about it. I'm telling you this so that you know that whatever problem you're facing, if there is a technical term for it, definitely there is going to be a solution. It's my task to know what is this passive multilingualism and all that which occurs with it. Your task is to just focus on the solution that I'm going to provide you. So you have to focus on the solution. You're facing the problem, doesn't matter. you can overcome this problem with the solutions that I am going to give you today. 2 solutions in this particular video. So this passive multilingualism is like knowing the language. Understanding the language is what? Knowing the language, but you cannot assert. Assert is to speak language. So what happens is, when you're learning a language, whenever you're learning any language, 2 parts of your brain, they are involved in learning any language. 2 different parts. Now, one part is responsible for understanding and the other part is responsible for speaking. That's why understanding is easy, speaking is complex, because the work is done by 2 different parts of the brain, not the same part. So understanding is easy. One part is doing understanding, other part is doing speaking work. Now what happens when we are understanding the language? What actually happens? When you understand the language, the part that is understanding, that works in a very easy way. Why? Because it's receiving the information. That's your receptive part of the brain, and this part works quite easily. This is a very quick working part of our brain, right? So receiving all the information that is around us. We are always surrounded by information. We are surrounded by sounds, by written information, by visual information, by graphics, and all this contributes to our language acquisition and making a language structure. That is the base of any language. Now, how do you receive all this information? Through listening and reading. So listening is your auditory information. You listen to it. There are sounds, there can be music, there can be people talking, conversations, anything. You listen to a lot of things. This is how a child learns his or her native language, through receiving information. Now once you're done receiving the information, you can understand the language, and this is quick, this is easy. Understanding a language is easy. Speaking is asserting. Like I've told you before, you have to assert the language. Now in speaking, what you have to do is, you have to process it, you have to retrieve the information, you have to present it, you have to make structures out of it, and then reproduce through speaking or writing. And in both the tasks, speaking is difficult. Why? Because that's spontaneous. When you're writing, still you've got time on your hands to think about something, but speaking is spontaneous. So retrieving that information is difficult. Receiving information from outside is easy. That's why you can understand the language. But retrieving the information to speak, to produce language, is difficult. Now you are trying to understand how this is working and why you're facing the problem. So this is why you're facing the problem, because you don't know what to retrieve, how to retrieve. That part of the brain which enhances your speaking skills, that part of the brain needs more training. You have exposed yourself to English a lot. You have exposed yourself to receiving information well enough, good enough. But you have not exposed yourself to much speaking opportunities. That's why you can understand English but cannot speak it. That is the sole reason why this is happening. Now, what is the solution? Let's talk about solution, how we can tackle this particular problem. Coming to the solutions for this particular problem, solution number one is to speak more and more. Speak more and more. That is, you have to expose yourself to lots and lots of speaking practice. Expose yourself to speaking opportunities, whether as a practice or in the real life situation. Now, I'm saying whether as practice or real life situation, that does not mean that you will neglect any one of these situations. You have to keep doing your English speaking practice. That is very important. Doing that English speaking practice with a complete focused mindset is important. You might be doing your speaking practice, but it might not yield better results because you're not focused enough. You're not taking up proper techniques. So if you want to take up the proper techniques to practice English speaking skills, I suggest go check out the playlist. I have told you about ample of techniques, more than 15-20 techniques I have discussed till date, solely focused on your speaking skills and fluency. That's it. So you have to go take up those 20, 25 However much techniques I've discussed with you, take those up. So many techniques to choose from. Take them up and speak. Start speaking from today. Start your speaking practice from today. Because exposing yourself to speaking is the only solution, because you understand the language. You need that push, kickstart to speak it. So until and unless you don't expose yourself to speaking opportunities, this will not happen, because till date you have treated English as a subject. Where you have treated it as a subject, that means to read something, to check your cognitive understanding. Cognitive understanding is concepts, but you're not trying to treat it as a skill, that is, focus on speaking and writing. That's why a lot of times people can write, but still they are unable to speak. It's not like they cannot speak it. They know the language, they understand the language, they know the grammar, everything is perfect. But speaking is a problem area, because speaking is a skill which is underdeveloped, which is not yet developed. And you have to develop this particular skill. You have to hone it. Because skills are developed only with practice, with dedication and proper techniques. You have to take up the proper techniques. That is the only solution. That is why I say take up proper speaking techniques to target fluency, target proper way of speaking, intonation, everything, so that you can improve your speaking skills, so that you can start speaking. That is your solution number one. Solution number two. Solution number two is to learn from your mistakes. Now, when you will start speaking, you'll make lots of mistakes in the beginning. You have to learn from those mistakes. Do not be scared of those mistakes. I would not say that don't be scared of making mistakes, because if you're just not scared of making mistakes, you'll continue making them. So you have to adopt the idea of learning from mistakes, learning from those mistakes. Being afraid of mistakes is again dangerous, very dangerous. But if you're just neglecting your mistakes just like that, again that's a very dangerous situation, because you will never improve. What we have to do is, we have to come out of the fear of making mistakes. That's the step number one. Once we have overcome this fear, step number two is to improve those mistakes, so that we can become a fluent English speaker, so that we can speak English whenever it is required for us to speak in English. So don't be scared of making those mistakes if you are making. And then whatever mistakes you're making, learn from those mistakes. Try improving those areas. That's very important. And once you start working on those areas, you'll see a huge improvement in your speaking skills. So this is it. That is it. This is why you're facing this problem. Understanding English but can't speak. That is, knowing a language but not able to speak it. And this is known as passive multilingualism. Passive multilingualism. So if you're suffering from this problem, passive multilingualism, do not worry. We have a solution. We have this solution. Apply the solution and see the magic happening. You will be able to understand English, and you'll be also able to speak fluent English if you apply this solution that I am telling you. Tackle the reasons, understand them, and then apply the solution to speak fluent English, absolutely fluent English. So that's it. That was it in today's session. Now I'm going to meet you again with a new lesson. Till then, everybody, take care and bye.